What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, former WBC junior middleweight world champion Tony the Tiger Harrison had some interesting take and interesting words for former unified junior middleweight world champion Julian J. Rock Williams. As we know, Julian J. Rock Williams lost to Jeison Rosario in his homecoming fight after defeating Jarrett Swift Hurd, or Swift Jarrett Hurd, for his unified titles in Jarrett Hurd's own backyard, right? Tony Harrison just recently lost the highly anticipated rematch with now current two-time WBC world champion, junior middleweight world champion, Jermell Lions Only Charlo, right? So, Jermell Charlo defeated Tony Harrison, stopped Tony Harrison, knocked Tony Harrison out, right? I believe he dropped Tony Harrison 3 times in that fight. But Tony Harrison, has lost now to, he lost to Jarrett Hurd, he lost to Jermell Charlo, and I believe he lost to Willie Nelson Jr., if I'm not mistaken, right? So he has 3 losses on his resume, right? And Tony Harrison is real critical of Julian J. Rock Williams. If you don't know, Julian J. Rock Williams opted to not, go directly into immediate rematch with Jeison Rosario, right? Citing there's some issues outside of the ring behind the scenes as to reason why he's not going to push forward with the immediate rematch. Leaving the door open for Jermell Charlo to go into a unification bout with Jeison Rosario, right? But Tony Harrison's take is pretty much questioning the mindset and pretty much the heart of Julian J. Rock Williams not going into the rematch. So Julian J. Rock Williams, trainer and manager, Breadman, responded to Tony Harrison and stated, come on now, you know the business of the sport of boxing. There's some things that go on behind the scenes that we can't disclose. As a boxer, you know this. And then he states, and you have 3 losses on your resume, and you haven't avenged any of them, right? He lost to Willie Nelson back in 2015, and he lost to Jarrett Hurd back in 2017. And he hasn't rematched either one of them. But I have to correct Breadman because he said he got 3 losses and he hadn't avenged, or he hadn't even went into a rematch with either of those guys. Well, technically, you can only say 2 because he just lost to Jermell Charlo. So he didn't even, and they already fought twice. Remember, he beat Jermell Charlo the first time, so they split. So now he needs a trilogy match, to break even, right? So I have to disagree with Breadman when he said there's 3 guys you lost to. Yes, he lost to 3 guys, but the opportunity to avenge the 3rd loss to Jermell Charlo, it just recently happened. That fight just took place back in December. So he didn't even get a chance to he hasn't had a fight yet. But as far as Willie Nelson and as far as Jarrett Hurd goes, those fights, he could have possibly went into a rematch and took those fights. But, he hasn't gotten those rematches. So Breadman's thing is this. Breadman is pretty much saying, how dare you question Julian J. Rock Williams, second and only loss in his career, questioning his decision and his mindset and his heart to go into, a rematch with the guy that took his titles when you haven't avenged any of the losses that you have on your resume. You didn't even go in none of those rematches. So why are you questioning what his method of dealing with things, right? And Julian J. Rock Williams, he just recently put up some, if he suffered a bad cut in that fight, and he just put it up on his social media, that he's needing some, plastic surgery and things of that nature for the cut. So obviously there's an injury there that's cause for concern. And, Julian J. Rock Williams never strikes me as a person, to want to duck anybody. That's just not his that's not his forte. That's not the makeup of the person that Julian J. Rock Williams is. You know, he's from Philadelphia. It's rough, rugged out there. You know, his mindset is different. I doubt it, right? Just like Tony Harrison, right? I don't question whether Tony Harrison wanted a rematch with Hurd or Willie Nelson Jr. But the facts remain, like Breadman said, you didn't even get none of your rematches, so how dare you question Julian J. Rock Williams' method, right? And he's spot on when he says that. But when he says you got 3 losses, you ain't avenged none of those 3 losses, you know, I had to correct him because truly it's 2. He has 3 losses on his resume, but obviously he's not going to get the opportunity right now to avenge his loss with Jermell Charlo, because he beat Jermell Charlo once. Now Jermell Charlo beat him. So in kind of in a way, he already got a dub over Jermell Charlo. So in a sense, he did get a dub over the person that beat him. Now Willie Nelson and Jarrett Hurd, he didn't get that opportunity. But then again, you got to look at it from the standpoint of Jarrett Hurd, right? He went on for bigger and better things. He went in a Lauren fight. You know, he went into J-Rock. He injured himself, and then I believe he injured his shoulder, something to that nature, and then he ended up losing to J-Rock. So I don't think the opportunity was there for Tony Harrison to even face Jarrett Hurd in the rematch, right? Because Jarrett Hurd went on to do and face bigger and better opposition. He beat Tony Harrison, then he fought Austin Trout in a big fight. Then he beat Arislandi Lara. Then he injured himself. Then he fought Wellborn, knocked him out. That was on undercard of Wilder Fury. And then he fought Julian J. Rock Williams, and he lost. So I don't know if the opportunity was there. But these guys were on a collision course. So if anybody's wondering, you know, they were playing nice in the sandbox, but there's no friends in the sandbox. You understand me? So they was on a collision course. Tony Harrison, should he have, and they even mentioned it amongst each other on social media, if you don't know, you don't remember. Tony Harrison said to Julian J. Rock Williams, go handle your business with Rosario. And then Tony Harrison said, I'm going to handle my business in the rematch with Jermell Charlo. And J-Rock said, yeah, handle your business with Jermell Charlo and let's get it on. Let's the 2 real dudes do business and battle for their version of Undisputed, because the WBO belt is with Golden Boy. And at the time it was with, what's dude name on Golden Boy Promotions? Man, I'm forgetting his name, but he's the WBO. At the time, he was the WBO. Jaime Munguia. Jaime Munguia was the WBO junior middleweight world champion, and we know that it's hard to do business there, right? So, with that said, you know, they was on a collision course, and that's an interesting fight, right? Because they're both technical, they both highly skillful, they both have high ring IQs, they both have power, and they both can box. So that's an interesting fight. And this is a fight that still needs to take place, right? It's actually building up right now, right? Tensions are at an all-time high, and this is a fight that needs to take place, right? So, you know, that's a 50-50 fight, and I can't even tell you who will win that fight. Off top of my head, initially, my heart says Julian J. Rock Williams. That's what initially what I think when I think of these two fighting. But Tony Harrison is no slouch, you know, and now J. Rock Williams got another injury, you know, that could come into play. So this is an interesting fight, man. They need to go ahead and build the fight. I'm sure Julian J. Rock Williams is going to look for, you know, if he's not going straight away into the Rosario rematch, he's going to look for a tune-up fight before going into the Rosario fight. And then you got to think, is Rosario fight even going to be there if Rosario goes ahead and fights Jermell Charlo in a unification bout. That fight might not even be on the table for him. Now, is Julian Williams' position with the rematch clause going to award him to jump to the head of the line should Jermell Charlo beat Jeison Rosario? Or is Jeison Rosario going to have a rematch clause in the negotiations going into the fight with Jermell Charlo, seeing as though he is the unified champion? So if he loses to Jermell Charlo, right, that puts Julian J. Rock Williams on the back burner for quite some time. For at the very least 8 months, as far as getting another title opportunity. Because, like I just stated, Jeison Rosario, 9 times out of 10, going to have a rematch clause against Jermell Charlo. And I know for a fact Jermell Charlo going to have a rematch clause going into the fight with Jeison Rosario, just like he did when he fought Tony Harrison. Thus the reason why he was going into immediate rematch with Tony Harrison, but Tony Harrison pulled out that fight, citing an injury. Jermell Charlo went ahead and faced somebody else in the meantime. Then he still took on Tony Harrison when Tony Harrison was available to do business. So you see what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure Jeison Rosario being a unified world champion is not going to go into this fight with Jermell Charlo without a rematch clause. And I know for sure Jermell Charlo is not going into the fight with Jeison Rosario, seeing what he just did to Julian J. Rock Williams. You know he ain't going in that fight without a rematch clause. So you got to figure, when is that fight going to even take place to begin with? Things to make you go, when is that fight going to take place? So you got to think, that fight might take place in, let's say, June. The loser of the fight, it's going to be 2 immediate fights. It's going to be 2 fights. Once they sign the deal, it's going to be 2 fights because both guys are going to have a rematch clause. Believe that. And seeing as though they don't really acknowledge the WBO title, it's not like they could ask for somebody to step aside so they could go for undisputed bout. You follow where I'm coming from? So that leaves, right, the winner of this fight, right, gonna go ahead and face the winner of this fight in a rematch, in an immediate rematch. Why? Because they both gonna have a rematch clause because they both champions. So neither one of these guys are gonna go into this fight without a rematch clause. You could believe that, right? So you can expect to see Rosario versus Jermell Charlo, Rosario versus Jermell Charlo, right? Those are going to be the next 2 fights should this fight come to fruition. Now, is Jeison Rosario going in a different direction outside of Jermell Charlo? Let's say Jeison Rosario go in the direction of Erickson Lubin. Let's say Jeison Rosario go in the direction of Jarrett Swift Hurd or Swift Jarrett Hurd, right? Give Jarrett Hurd the opportunity to regain his titles. Let's say Jeison Rosario chooses to go that route. Now that's different. Now it could be a one-way rematch clause, right, for Jeison Rosario. Let's see, if I lose this fight, right, then I'm going into an immediate rematch to regain my titles. But if he win the fight, then he go elsewhere. He go about his business, and then he go ahead and make the fight with Julian J. Rock Williams, or he go ahead at that point in time and look for the unification bout against Jermell Charlo. So you see how this all plays out, right? But it could place Julian J. Rock Williams on the shelf as far as a title opportunity for at least 6 to 8 months. That's the danger in him waiting and allowing Jeison Rosario to go a different route. You understand? Now, is Jeison Rosario willing? Now, he already stated he wanted a unification bout, right? And he wanted, the big fights. He wanted all the belts. But is he willing to go into a fight with Jermell Charlo in his first title defense? And is he willing to give a guy like Erickson Hammer Lubin an opportunity? Or do he want to give the former unified world champion, Swift Jarrett Hurd, the opportunity to regain his titles? That's a tough fight. And his first title defense. Or does he just want to say, you know what? Forget it all. I'm going directly into the big fight in a unification match. Right? For the PBC side, that's kind of like undisputed. So, and And is Julian J. Rock Williams willing to face a guy like Tony Harrison as a tune-up? Because Tony Harrison is not a tune-up. So is he willing to face Tony Harrison? I don't know. I don't think so. Right? But who was out there for Julian J. Rock Williams to fight? I mean, we could find somebody because it's a tune-up. Right? But this just got more exciting. The 154-pound division is that much more exciting now. Right? Because guess what? If Erickson Hammer-Lubin gets the opportunity to face Jeison Rosario, I'm giving Erickson Lubin, you know, the edge because of his boxing ability. Right? I'm giving Jermell Charlo the edge. So if Jermell Charlo win, what forces him to fight Julian J. Rock Williams? Why? Right? He may be more suited and more eager to face Swift Jarrett Hurd, as that was the big fight that was Ben Lubin. He already defeated Erickson Hammer-Lubin. So, you know, this division is booming. So let's see how this all plays out. Because I don't know if Jeison Rosario want to risk it all going in there with Jermell Charlo. And if I'm Julian J. Rock Williams, I don't want Jeison Rosario to fight Jermell Charlo because that's going to put me on the shelf as far as title opportunity for at least 8 months. So let's see how this all plays out. But that's all I got for y'all. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Buzz Sports TV. Hit, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Buzz Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.